Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome to the WazaMedia podcast. WazaMedia is a digital marketing agency that believes in the power of storytelling. We show businesses and individuals how to communicate with laser focus in a media-saturated world. Today, we're talking about digital marketing tips for your business in 2021 and what you more specifically should be thinking about in that first month. Like as you're getting going in the new year, what are some things from a digital marketing and communications standpoint? And joining me is my partner in crime, JR Arce. How are you?
Happy New Year, Andrew. I am so glad 2021 is here.
I'm pumped. I think we all kind of view 2021 as like, oh, I can't wait for 2020 to be behind us, as if like it's suddenly going to flip a switch and everything's going to be better. But I do believe that the new year brings a new opportunity to have a positive outlook and think differently, think more positively, and just make the best of any situation, no matter what from 2020 we might be bringing with us into the new year. What about you?
2021, A New Hope, but not like the Star Wars movie. There's, some of those Star Wars movies can just go away. Anyway, but yeah, definitely. There's something new there's something refreshing about having a fresh start, and
Mm-hmm.
January is always that month of something to have renewed or to recommit or start something new.
That's absolutely true. And you know what I also realized is I introduced you, but I didn't introduce me. My name is Andrew Milner, and both JR and I are the owners of WazaMedia. So, you know, I'll bring my forgetfulness into 2021. But so, yeah, we're talking about um, what things to be thinking about in the first month of the year, January. It's here. And what are we thinking about as a company? Let's start there from your perspective, JR.
So the biggest thing for the company is when it comes to the new year, it really comes down to two things. What have you done? And what do you want to do next? And that comes down to having an evaluation process. So right now, I am evaluating how we did on our social, how we did with our marketing, how we did our marketing, the sales, what was our conversion rate, looking at all that data. And so that way we can see how we did, and the things we want to find out is what worked, what didn't work, and then what can we do better. So this is a great time to do a lot of reflection with business practices, sales, marketing, and then make some changes into the new year.
Absolutely, because we slash those listening, you're setting the tone, setting the pace, setting the rhythms for your new year, and you could just stumble into it and be the same as last year, or you could be intentional, reflect, review, and reassess how you want to be in this next year. And so, um, thankfully, with social media, any kind of digital presence, your website, all social media platforms, any podcasting, any ads, all of it has measurable information there. And I would bet a lot of folks don't take the time to look under the hood to all of the stuff that's available to them. And so it's important, and it's an important time to be doing that. What are some other things, if you will, do you think are for someone that's new to digital marketing, new to the space, and they just don't even know where to start? What do you think is a good starting place for them?
If you're starting out and just doing digital marketing for your company, for your own personal brand or sort, you want to do a quick audience analysis. You need to find out what your target audience is and find out where they live. If you're trying to reach, the new generation who you're trying to sell to, say, 12 to 18-year-olds, the platform for you is definitely TikTok. That's where they live. That's where they breathe. That's where they are. But if you're looking for customers or an audience that is more into visual information, they like pretty pictures, and that's how they consume, Instagram may be your thing. Or if you've
And
got something that if you produce long form content on a regular basis, We work with church organizations that do sermons. YouTube might be your place. So it really comes down to who you're looking for and then finding where those people live.
Yeah, and for those that are new too, we interchange the words audience and customer base or customer desired customer base is all the same. It's the people that you're trying to communicate with, either with social media posts, podcasts, or ads online. It's all the same. You have this target demographic of people, and that's all interchangeable. My recommendation, in addition to what you were just saying, JR, too, would be also if you haven't really owned the free stuff, like really take advantage of where you already are. Case in point would be most businesses are on Google Maps. Most businesses and organizations are on Yelp. And these profiles are created whether or not you are actively engaging with them, whether or not you want them or not, they're there. So my advice would be to go on them, see what the reviews are, see what's happening, and actually learn to engage there because it's happening with or without you. So it might as well be with you, with your input, and learn to interact with folks in a positive way on those platforms. I emphasize the positive way because I've also seen the first time you may go on there, you might have a tendency to want to lash out or argue with somebody on Yelp or Google. That's a losing battle for you. Um, thank people for their feedback, provide some gracious explanation, but move forward. But the big thing is just engaging people, thanking people. And also, you could probably fill out your profiles a lot more detail than what Google or some other person added for you. There's a lot more detail you could provide.
I'm glad you brought up the point in which that this is all happening with or without you. I know on Facebook and on Google Maps, there are places that have been identified by other people. Other people can claim businesses or write about businesses. And if you're not the actual owner of it, that actually puts you at risk for your company's brand. And so you want to take an active approach to making sure you're securing your domains, you're securing your spots that are on Google Maps. If you're on Facebook pages, there are businesses that people have visited your business, they tag your business, but you don't have a business page. And so it can create a lot of disinformation, whether who is who. Are you the actual company that's posting this, or is this the right address for it? Because people don't have the actual information that's from you as the business owner. So definitely want to take an active approach to make sure your information that's out on the digital sphere, on the interwebs, is correct and is from you.
Yeah, and if that doesn't fit you, meaning that you're already pretty engaged, you're aware of your Google Maps presence, you engage periodically on there. Same with Yelp, same with a free, the business listing on Facebook. If you generally engage there, a level up for you might be starting a podcast or some other long form content. Would you agree?
I definitely agree. Starting a podcast is a great way to just tell your story, and it really doesn't cost very much to do it. You can just do it as simple with something as simple as your phone and a pair of headphones. You can start out there, and then gradually move on to the crazy operation that we've got going on. We've got some mics, we've got some cameras going, but this is something that you and I, Andrew, we love tinkering with tech. So this is more of this is more fun for us doing it this way.
Absolutely. And it really long form content like a podcast and putting that out there can become so useful to really rev up your social media presence because you can take something like a 10, 20, or 30-minute podcast and turn it into 10, 20, or 30 posts on social media of varying types. And that's one thing I know as a company that we're excited about offering as a service to those organizations that are ready to level up and and take long form content and really blast social media with meaningful content. So that's something I'm excited about in the new year. I know we touched on it more in our last podcast. So podcasting is a way to level up, and we talked about looking at the data in your social media as well. If you're not engaging in the basics of, Facebook, Instagram, and it does depend on your business type, whether or not you want to be on Twitter. Um, but a lot of people don't think of it this way, but even like the listings, like we talked about on Google Maps, on the Yelp, and the like, they're not quote unquote traditional social media, but they are, because it's still social. It's still places where people share reviews, share their feelings, and are engaging with the business sector. And so, in that sense, they kind of need to be treated as social media as well. Um, so, yeah, definitely get under the hood of your social media sites. I know, JR, we were talking earlier, you mentioned even simple things like email lists. Do you want to highlight some of that kind of easily forgotten information and data that might be needed to be thought about?
Email lists are a great way to keep in touch with your audience and your customer base. If you've got people that have done online orders with you, that is your direct contact with them, with their permission, of course. You want to make sure that you check the block that it's okay for them to contact you because they've given you your email address. But especially during the holidays, I'm sure all of us have gotten constant email reminders, the coupon codes for coming back to, hey, we noticed that you got some cards from us, or you got this product from us. We want to offer you this, or we want to inform you about this. And email rates are not, open rates are not the same as they were years ago. I remember watching this video from Gary Vee on how he was huge on email back in the 90s when the internet was still in its infant stage. And everyone used to open up emails and it would be 96% open rate. And now today it's different with everyone having different platforms and things, and notifications on our smartphones. But email is still another way how you can have direct contact with your customer base, and giving them that information that you need to pass out to either inform them of a new service, new changes, or an opportunity for them to interact with you.
Absolutely. And interaction is key. You got to figure out the ways in which you can communicate in a way that the folks you're communicating with want to respond, want to ask questions, want to reach out, or you just hit that like button if you're on YouTube. Whatever it is, you're looking for that interaction and engagement. But not just to drum up numbers or stats, but it's because you genuinely want to have a good working relationship with your customers, constituents, donors, whatever your organization is seeking. And speaking of engagement on for ourselves, we're looking for engagement from you as well. All the things that we talk about in our podcast, we're ready to have a more personal, more detailed conversation with you, either over the phone or start chatting online. You can start chatting with us on our Facebook page, wherever. But if you have questions about any of the kind of the basic details or basic ideas that we talk about in our podcast, please reach out in whatever method works for you, and we'd love to have a conversation. Any final thoughts or remarks, JR, before we close out our first podcast of the year?
Oh man, first podcast of the year. The biggest thing is, and I want to continue on with what Andrew said, is that every business is different when it comes to finding what your audience is, and finding out what tactics work the best. And so Andrew and I, we've worked in many different area fields in our work history, and we have a great idea of how a lot of different fields interact, and some of the best ways to approach it. So we would love to take your idea, give it legs, and let it run. And so sometimes just talking it through and brainstorming together is the best way to help get your message out the door and to your audience. So just even a simple chat with us will help you get the ball rolling.
Absolutely. And just thank you for those of you who have really joined us for this early phase of our WazaMedia podcast. We appreciate you. And thanks for joining us into this next year and next phase of the podcast as well. So thanks for listening. If you've found this podcast helpful, please share it with friends or family. It only takes a quick moment. Be sure to follow us also on our social media platforms at WazaMedia. That's WAZA Media. If you're looking for an agency to help take your business to the next level, visit our website at waza.media to schedule a consultation. Thanks again, and tune in next time. Take care.